do you really need to spend your entire paycheck on food when you're doing a ketogenic lifestyle? Because that's the thing that we've been hearing people asking about. We're going to talk today about how to do keto on a budget. Hello, Wellness Warriors. Welcome to Mind Blowing Health and Wellness with Violet. Pat Chat Edition. I'm Violet.
And I'm Pat. So which one do you want to start? Do you want to start cheap or expensive?
I feel like they tie together.
They tie together. Okay.
We had a question. Someone wanted to know about the benefits of MCT oil. And that was like where this conversation started for you and I.
Yeah.
And I feel like the interesting thing to me is that at the very beginning, when I went to see how much MCT oil was and I saw the price, and I was just like, MCT oil is gotten from coconut oil. I can buy like a gigantic container of coconut oil for such a reasonable price, and a little teeny bottle of MCT oil is twice as much as. So I did some research, and honestly, medium chain triglycerides. That's what it is. It's liquid, medium chain triglycerides. But I'm paying triple the price when I eat coconut oil. I'm getting medium chain, long chain, small chain. Like you're getting linoleic acid. You get all the benefits of the coconut oil plus the medium chain triglycerides when you use coconut oil.
Yeah, but if I remember correctly, like there was that trend about MCT oil, how it was easily absorbed like by the body and giving you like almost like it's not. But could we consider that exogenous ketones at the same time? Not really, because you can have your exogenous ketones, but it was like how quick it was to be absorbed by the body. But like, do you really need that?
But that's not even whether we need it or not. You can get it from coconut oil.
And it will be absorbed that fast?
Yeah.
Your body doesn't need to break all the chains.
When you eat coconut oil, you get medium chain, long chain, short chain. You get all the chains. So like the question is, do I need a company to extract out the MCTs out of coconut oil for me? And then I'm not getting all the other benefits of the coconut oil. Yeah. Again, so for me, I feel like this is one of those places where keto can seem expensive if I don't know that. If I don't know that I could use coconut oil and get the benefits as if I had taken MCT oil, if I take MCT oil, I don't get all the benefits of coconut oil. So actually, to my benefit to eat coconut oil.
Yeah, so, but okay, then what about all the, like, you go to Costco, if you've been to Costco recently, you can go, like, you see all the mountain of keto product that are appearing on the shelves, whether there are keto bars, keto dessert, keto wraps, keto, like everything is labeled keto. And when you look at the ingredients, like, okay, yeah, there's some that are okay, but there's some that are like definitely like when you have stuff you can't pronounce or you can't read, I'm always worried, even though the carb count seems really low. But yeah, like but those, like you said, are expensive. Like a box of 6-8 bars, like $20 or more. Like,
so here's what I'm going to say. I'm a fan of doing what works and what makes sense. So here's the thing. What do we know about our health? If I improve anything, it will get better until it can't get better anymore. And then my body will start reacting to what I'm doing. This is part of the reason that vegetarianism works. If I go from eating garbage food to eating good vegetables, my body's going to improve until it can't improve anymore. If I go from eating 300 grams of carbs a day to eating processed 20 grams of carbs or less, yeah, my body's going to improve until it can't improve anymore. So is it to my benefit to eat a keto bar that maybe in that keto bar there's 2 grams of carbs, 3 grams of carbs in this, versus a plate of vegetables, the same 3 grams of carbs? So this versus this, which one do you think is going to help me to feel more satisfied?
Yeah,
right? The big plate of vegetables. Now, is this more fun than that? Sure, because this is going to taste sweeter.
Yeah.
Now, again, we have to ask ourselves and be honest with ourselves. Why am I eating the bar? Right? I'm eating the bar because it's fun. And if I don't let myself understand that piece of information, then what's going to happen Because if I'm hungry, like I'm hungry, is that all I'm going to eat? This is a meal, right? So we need to be careful. There's a lot of products out there that claim to be meal replacements, and people do not use them as meal replacements, though. So then if I'm eating this protein, that's got all this protein and only 2 grams of carbs, and it has 2 grams of carbs, but what else is in there? If I'm not going to treat it as a meal, even though everything on the package is saying it's supposed to be a meal, and I'm going to turn and still eat a meal, then what did I just do? So one of the things that I want everyone to think about is that when you're doing a healthy ketogenic lifestyle, you're focused on whole foods, which is what I want every wellness warrior to focus on, eating whole foods, right? Because if that's what you're doing, then you're going to make a meal when you're hungry. And if you actually eat a meal when you're hungry, you're going to do better for yourself.
Because in the end, whether it's a package that has keto on it or not, like, it's still processed food. It's still like we don't like necessarily advise it. The other problem I see, like, it's like some of them are meal replacement, but some of them are clearly meant as snacks, and it keeps you in that unwanted state of like chasing food. Because you're like you said, when you're hungry, you're gonna have a little snack. Even though it's a keto snack, you're gonna like have an insulin response, and like we know, we try to avoid those insulin spikes like the least possible. So that's the other problem with those keto product, is that they keep you in a state of wanting like snacks instead of just like when you're hungry having a full meal.
We have so many keto focused channels that still push people towards snacking, replacement, baking snacks, and all these fun. And it's really hard for me, because like, is it really a keto focused channel if what you're telling people do is to bake this muffin and bake these cookies and bake this cake and bake
or unwrap that bar
or unwrap that bar, or right, like a cupboard full of of snacky things that, oh, look at all the snacks I have. And it's like, is that really about our health, or is that about another way for us to have products in our life? And I bought enough products. Trying to remember the video that I did. I should link it. There was a video that I did where we were talking about like how much it costs, how much the food companies make off of us. And when I did the math for myself of how much I was spending, it was crazy. That sure, they're willing to advertise for me and spend $1 million on an advertisement. The amount of money Violet gave them back, and if you take one of Violet times how many of us were giving them back that money, it's crazy. It's crazy.
So would you say they still have their place in the diet if you're transitioning from standard American diet to, if you want to lower your food intake, maybe? I don't know, like for sure now we're kind of over. I've bought them, like I was curious to see like what they tasted like, but like, okay, you taste you taste it, but like, okay, like it's kind of a letdown at some point that they're not as satisfying maybe as you. So it's almost as like the little hit of fun you had was just like purchasing the product instead of like eating it.
The thing that I will point out is that a lot of people have had this experience where you're overweight and you take one thing out. Maybe you stop drinking soda, or you stop eating cookies. You just take one thing out and lose 10 pounds. So wouldn't it be to your benefit if you're going to do anything, if you're so worried about the snacks, stop the snacks first. Live your life, keep eating normally. Don't eat the snacks. Then when you're past the snacks, then you do keto. There's lots of different ways to approach a problem, right? Now, could you do it the opposite way? Do keto and eat keto snacks? Sure. My problem with that, and the only reason I'm not suggesting it, is that, and partially, I did make some replacement things. Thank God my laziness kicked in. But I did make some replacement things. The reason I'm not suggesting it is that after living it, what I did notice is that it kept me chasing. It's interesting how as soon as I wasn't eating those things, the chasing wasn't there anymore. So everybody needs to know themselves, right? If you think that you can use those as a bridge and then stop eating them, go for it. But if you're like me and you know you're going to chase that chocolatey flavor or that cookie-ish thing, or if you know you're going to chase it, then I would probably suggest going the other way. Just let them go, eat normal food. You're still going to get your sugar hit from the food, and then you pull the food away.
Yeah, it's a good point, because all the sweeteners that they put in those products, usually especially the bars, like they
keep us chasing.
They keep us chasing. So
see, and that's the part that's tricky, because logically we're thinking, well, I didn't eat any sugar. Your brain doesn't know that. It tasted sweet. Your brain is thinking sugar's coming in. It acted like you just ate sugar. So you have a depletion of the sugar in your blood, and then your body's going to turn around and say, hey, go eat something. We're low on sugar. And we're in this cycle, right?
Yeah.
Now, luckily for us, sometimes those things that we are making have some sugar in them. It's worse when there isn't any sugar at all in them. Like the worst one for me was when I drank a diet soda, in between two meals, back when I didn't know better. And the hunger that hit me was like, woof. Like I was hungry. Not even just a little bit, I was hungry. And it took me a few times before I realized, oh my gosh, it's the sweet that's triggering my body to put some sugar away and then pushing me now to need to eat. And we don't know that's going to happen because there's no sugar in this, there's not, right? But my brain doesn't know that.
Okay. So I think that's settled for the product and the expensive stuff. So I'm tempted to go like to the whole food side, but all the, not the luxury, but the grass-fed meat and grass-fed everything you like. That's another part of the keto lifestyle. People believe they have to go there, but that could be really expensive.
So even before doing keto, I've heard of Wagyu beef.
Yeah.
And I saw it in the store the other day. And non-keto person, people eat this. It's like $150 for like 3 steaks.
Yeah.
So, like, we can be expensive, keto or not keto.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right?
Sure.
Like it's not about keto. It's about buying the best quality that you can afford. One thing I will say, and I caution people against, is buying expensive meats thinking it's going to erase the carbs you're eating. It won't. So if you're buying expensive meat and you're eating it alongside rice, your body will still be in the same bad situation because you're eating rice or potatoes or carrots or whatever other thing you're eating beside that expensive meat. What is important to know is that if I eat a better quality meat and I'm already doing really good for myself on the carb side, so I'm keeping my carbs really low, yes, of course I'm helping myself, right? Because the animal that I'm eating is not being pumped full of hormones, or it doesn't have its own metabolic issues that I'm turning around and I'm eating. So of course that's going to be better for me. And let's be realistic though. If I'm struggling financially, not eating the carbs is so much more important than eating expensive meat, right? Regular meat is going to do you fine. All the people in the world who are doing standard American diet are eating that regular meat and they're surviving. We want to do better than surviving, okay? That's why we're talking about this. But if you can afford better quality meat, absolutely. I'm never going to tell you not to buy it. And eat it alongside low glycemic vegetables or no vegetables.
Yeah. We can do keto in a non-expensive way. Like you don't need a product. We don't need the like if you can't afford like the grass-fed everything, like we don't need it. But on the other hand of the spectrum, if you're like tight on a budget, like what could we recommend to people that want to do keto and are tight, because meat can be expensive. Like sometimes I do even at Costco buy steaks and like 2 steaks $40 or like $30. So like
what's lucky for us, and this is going to be good for us for as long as it can be good for us. The fattier cuts of meat are usually cheaper. Fattier ground pork and ground meats are usually cheaper.
So ground is a good point. Like usually ground meats are a little bit cheaper.
Yeah. And the fattier they are, the more cheap they are. So a lot of the time we think that we have to go for these expensive cuts of meat that we hear people talking about on the internet. Again, I feel like it's not about what people brag about eating as much as it's about eating the best quality that you can afford. So just to put perspective on it. Spaghetti with tomato sauce, which is a staple meal in a lot of homes that are tight on money, doesn't give you much protein, doesn't give you much fat, right? That's a carb heavy meal versus ground beef with this, with a little bit of whatever you want to put it on, like whether you put it on some vegetables or make it into a burger patty and eat it like that. Make us some, like, the thing is that little bit of ground beef that you're going to eat would fill you up better and take your body further than the spaghetti that you can have that ginormous bowl of spaghetti and tomato sauce. But it's not, but you're going to be hungry in a few hours. So I feel like sometimes it's because we don't know better that we think that having more on the plate is what matters. It's not what matters. I say this every time because I find it so interesting, but every time that he and I are sitting here talking to you guys, by the time that we're looking at our watches, it's like almost 20 some odd hours since our last meal. Right? And it's very interesting to me how we are fine. One coffee. One coffee. So we had one coffee today each. And we're fine. And people don't understand how we're able to do that, but it's because we focus on eating high quality food for what our budget is, right? And it's not because, so just let's really be clear on something. I feel just as good on the days that I eat ground pork with, like, usually me, I would put some olives on the side and some cheese. That's how I like to have my ground pork. But I might also have a little bit of ground pork mixed in with eggs. But pay attention to that, the fact that in those two meals, I'm not having vegetables. What's important for people to understand is that meal will take me my 24 hours the same way that if I had a pork chop with some vegetables will take me my 24 hours. Right? Why? Because I'm going to eat enough. I'm going to stop eating when I'm satiated. So it's not about expensive meat. And it's like a pork chop or ground beef, like, pork chop, expensive meat versus a ground beef, which is ground is not expensive meat, but it's going to take me the same distance.
From my own experience, even like here in Montreal, beef, I think probably worldwide, I've gotten to a point where it is a little bit more expensive than it used to be a couple of years ago. But if you can eat pork, definitely pork is cheaper than beef. I think it's gonna be as good as beef. Chicken, you want to have the chicken legs instead of the chicken breast because
again
it's
cheaper.
And it's cheaper. So go with the chicken legs. Don't go with even at the grocery. I know we have the thighs and like sometimes the drumstick like sold in two different packages. Like it's more processing, so they sell it like it's gonna be more expensive. So go like just buy the whole leg, and if you want to like cut it yourself, you cut them yourself. Pork is good. Like fish, I do some like fish is a bit expensive, like the beef. Sometimes you're gonna there's gonna be some specials. You can maybe go for the frozen fish. Like sometimes, like I did find at the grocery that they're a little bit cheaper.
But still try to go for the fattier fishes.
Sure.
And they tend to be cheaper still.
So trout and salmon.
And they tend to be cheaper.
And they tend to be cheaper.
And also, I'm going to point out the one that people often miss: eggs. We don't allow ourselves to eat eggs. And they're healthy. They're high. They're 50 fat, 50 protein, and they're gonna take you again. It's gonna take you that day.
Eggs, like I don't know if you're not, maybe you're not like me, but I can I don't seem to feel as satiated with eggs than with meat.
Eggs take me the day.
I could
but
I could eat 6 and have 6 more.
But here's the thing too, is that again, it's like, how are you making your eggs? Like sometimes, so if I'm not having bacon with my eggs, then I'll put ground pork in my eggs, or like, so again, or I'll add cheese to my eggs. It's like, I mean, like I've said it before, it's rare that I have just eggs, or I'll have egg salad with chicken. But the thing is that I feel like what we don't allow ourselves to understand is that eggs are another place where you can allow yourself to get a good dose of energy and still have a good quality protein.
Yeah. If you're into, I know for my boys, sometimes I like, if I'm lazy, I'm gonna buy the egg salad or the chicken salad. Like, they're good ingredients. Obviously their carb count is low, but make it yourself. Like, if you have time, like it's so easy to put like bit mayonnaise with like chicken and like do your own salad.
I don't know why anybody would buy them.
I know, laziness. Come on, like, you don't know why. You don't know Miss Lazy in the kitchen.
Yeah, but eggs. I mean, like, it's one of the few things. Like when I'm feeling lazy, eggs is actually what I
true. No, it's true. Yeah, the egg salad is pretty pretty easy to do. Okay, bacon. Like, everybody on keto talks about bacon. Of course, like, keto is wrapping everything in bacon.
Well, it's
is
not,
it like?
but okay.
but bacon, funny enough, can be a little bit expensive. Like, a little, like 375 grams at a grocery store is often $7. So, but it's not an essential. Like, I would say every processed meat like bacon and lunch meat, and like, you have that cooked ham, they're not necessary.
No.
Like,
but that's another place where I would say, like, pay attention to the prices and buy what makes sense for your family. Right? Like, it used to be that we didn't buy bacon because it was bad for your health. Yeah. Now it's, I do buy bacon, I have to be honest. But again, if your situation is different than mine, and if that's an expense that you can't justify, buy a different meat. Buy ground beef, buy ground pork, buy chicken legs, there's different things you can purchase. I think the most important thing to think about is that it doesn't all have to be grass-fed. Like, getting normal eggs is less expensive than getting the ones where the birds are running around free, and so like, I'll be honest with you, I buy both, right? Like, I don't mind to buy the ones that are, if they're there and there's no cracks in them. I don't mind to buy the ones that are a bit more expensive, but if they don't have any, I'm going to buy regular eggs. So, like, buy the one that makes the most sense for you. And I think that if you allow yourself to buy what makes sense, the lovely thing that you're going to start to see is that you're not eating as much. And then when you're not eating as much, guess what happens? You have a little bit more money to spend on food, right? And you can buy the food that makes the most sense, so you can level up because you're actually eating less. So that's something that I for sure noticed with myself, is that the amount of groceries that I buy from my house is not the same as it was before. And that's with a daughter who's still eating normal diet, because she's also, well, just because I don't cook 2 meals, she's also eating a bit differently now too. So some of her stuff is like not as much, right? So I feel like everybody can make a choice to focus on buying what makes sense for your family.
And it doesn't need to be super expensive either. Actually, it might be even less expensive because you're buying less of the packaged crap. That can cost that can be expensive too. So
packaged foods, processed foods are not doing your body any benefit, and they cost more. So it's about making sure that you're doing the best for your health. So there are some videos on the screen right there that are going to help you to improve your health. Wellness Warriors, always so happy that you guys come back. All the new people, welcome.
Please like and subscribe if you didn't already.
I want to thank you for watching Mind Blowing Health and Wellness with Violet, Pat Chat Edition. Can't wait to talk to you guys again next week.
Talk to you next week.